Alana, and welcome to Button Bash. Chris Early, Ubisoft's Vice President of Digital Publishing, has said that he doesn't think gamers resist DLC or downloadable content quite as much as they used to. He basically said that barely anyone complained about Black Flag's time-saver DLC packs, aside from maybe, and I quote, 12 guys somewhere who said something, but whatever. Very eloquent there, Chris. He also said, I think there are some models that are accepted now. DLC is pretty much accepted. Season Pass is pretty much accepted. Now, it's interesting when you start to think of Season Pass as a service pass. For our Season Pass holders, I know we hold events specifically for them, so it's a little bit more than just DLC content. So there's an evolution going on there. Now, I'm not going to argue with Ubisoft's Vice President of Digital Publishing, but okay, I guess I am. I've never bought a Season Pass and I've never found any of Ubisoft's DLCs to be quite worth the cost. I wouldn't say these are accepted, maybe just more tolerated than they used to be. I don't think I'm alone in saying a lot of DLCs just don't feel like they're worth the money. A 9-minute gameplay walkthrough of Halo 2 Anniversary Ascension has been posted online after being showcased at RTX. But I'm not going to waste any of your time talking about it. Let's take a look.
We have added an energy shield in the middle.
Throw a grenade.
So, not only is it gorgeous, it blocks gunfire, it blocks projectiles, and what's really fantastic about this is, well, when you get into kind of Koth in the middle of this map, it gets insane. I mean, it's like Thunderdome inside there.
A censored version of Criminal Girls Invite Only is being brought to the PlayStation Vita in 2015. The original game, just titled Criminal Girls, was actually on the PSP but was only released in Japan, so if you haven't heard of it, that's not at all surprising. Criminal Girls is about guiding 7 young girls through the depths of hell to absolve them of their sins. It's a JRPG and contains a few particularly racy mini-games that aren't appropriate for Western audiences. We don't know exactly what has been censored, but my guess is that it's the parts where you basically tickle and whip little girls. I'm surprised that was considered appropriate for any audience, to tell you the truth. Sniper Elite 3 isn't quite what I expected from the third installment of the series. I played Rebellion Development's tactical shooter on the Xbox One, though it is also available on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and on PC. You play as a white dude bro with a raspy voice and stubble, Carl Fairbairn, who is an OSS sniper based in North Africa in World War II. And that's really all there is to say about the story and about Carl. Both are truly, truly horrible. It's a third-person shooter based across some pretty mammoth-sized maps that allow for a variety of tactical approaches. Your primary weapon, of course, a sniper rifle that takes just a little more than just aim and shoot, and it initially just confused the crap out of me. Turns out I'm easily confused, because once you figure it out, it's a total breeze. You locate your target, pull out your binoculars to tag him, and then account for wind, the distance, and your own heart rate before firing a shot. Sometimes you need to intentionally wait for background noise or create some yourself by kicking a generator or something so nobody hears you fire. When you do all that though, the game really shines. Sniper Elite 3 has a really brutal Mortal Kombat style X-ray kill cam. Basically, when you pull the trigger, the camera will follow your bullet through the air until it tears through one of your enemy's body parts in graphic detail, allowing and encouraging you to shoot for specific organs and then feel a wave of satisfaction when you hit the right spot. You can even go for testicles if you're into that. The sniping animation only lasts a few seconds, but it is dynamically generated, meaning it's different every single time and it's entertaining for its sheer brutality. But it's also the only part of the game that's really polished. It's certainly a nice change from the previous Sniper Elite games that you can now approach environments a whole lot more creatively. You can take enemies out from behind or by sneaking around, or pick them off with a silenced pistol. There are a whole heap of different parts allowing for at least some degree of creativity, but the AI is a little confusing. The generic bad guys are generally more aware of any sounds you might make rather than being able to physically see you, which seems a little off in an often noisy war zone. My complaint here is much bigger than that. If you want to perform a takedown, you can pretty much walk straight up to someone right from the side and they won't even notice you, making the game a fair bit easier than it should be. When you do get noticed by the soldier, everyone on the map will suddenly know exactly where you are, and even that doesn't cause really much of a problem at all. As soon as you move away from where they spotted you, you will be completely forgotten, and even if you go back to that exact same spot, it'll be like you were never there at all. You do also have access to submachine guns and some traps and grenades, but I didn't get a whole lot of use out of these. Occasionally I managed to trick the AI into trying to find me and stumbling across a path of landmines I'd specifically set up, but again, because they're just so stupid, half the time they forget the part where I walked straight up to them to grab their attention. So as the name suggests, the most fun here is definitely taking out enemies from a distance with the sniper rifle. There is an XP system that lets you unlock promotions, usually based on the amount of headshots you get while you creep through the 8 stages of the game. Every stage has a handful of optional objectives too to make things a little more exciting, like killing a certain amount of enemies with stealth takedowns or seeking down the collectibles in each level. You don't actually have to complete any of these things, but if you want to, there's a pretty wide variety of ways to approach it. The levels are quite short though, and the game was only around 8 hours long all up, maybe even shorter if you choose to shoot your way through. But while there is a surprising amount of choice for this kind of shooter, the game has a handful of nasty glitches. The graphics are pretty appalling with shaking visuals, and the camera always just feels a little bit awkward. Running almost feels like ice skating and can be a little disorientating at times, and I experienced screen tearing more than once, which is basically when a line comes up because there are basically 2 separate frames on screen at once. Sometimes your shots are ineffective for seemingly no reason, particularly against armored vehicles like tanks, and then sometimes your shots are ineffective just because one of your enemies is casually levitating. While these are somewhat tolerable issues, at least in comparison to the dodgy AI, they're consistently noticeable and the game feels really unfinished as a result. Honestly though, I'm not even sure it matters. Waiting to get some noise to muffle your shot and then lining up that sniper rifle to blow out a Nazi's eye out the back of his skull in great detail is enough reason to play this game. It's certainly annoying at times and it absolutely lacks polish, but my god is it entertaining. And beyond that, the variety of ways you can approach each situation is really rewarding. If you are interested in playing Sniper Elite 3, I just kind of recommend waiting until there's a significant price drop. I'm Alana, and this has been Button Bash.